My son looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're not my real dad. Mom's boyfriend is way better." I didn't fight him. I just said, "All right." After that, I immediately stopped paying for his elite private school and put his car up for sale. Within 3 days, his mother was blowing up my phone, threatening to drag me into court. I'm 43, and I've been raising Marcus, now 17, entirely on my own since he was 8. Veronica walked out on us for some guy she met at her gym, and she made it clear she didn't want the responsibility, just her own life back. So I picked up the pieces and rebuilt everything for nearly a decade. I worked myself to the bone. Westfield Academy's massive tuition? I paid it. I bought him a BMW for his 16th birthday. Got him a gaming setup worth more than some people's monthly income. Enrolled him in camps, got tutors, whatever he needed. Not because I'm wealthy, I manage construction projects. I just chose to put him first. Then out of nowhere, about 3 weeks ago, Veronica reappears, acting like she suddenly wants to be a parent again. She shows up with her boyfriend Dante, the flashy personal trainer who leases a Maserati. Marcus begins spending weekends with them, and I let it happen because he should know his mother. But last Sunday he walked in and threw this bomb at me. "I've realized you're not really my father. Like, you're not the real thing." Dante understands me more. Mom says I can move in once I'm 18. He's gonna help me go big as an influencer. I just stared at him, trying to process it. "You're not my actual dad. Biologically, yeah. But Dante is more of a real father figure. He doesn't nag me about grades or college. He actually believes in what I want to do. His big dream, becoming an influencer." The moment I tried to say anything, he snapped. "See? You're proving my point. Dante says I've got natural star quality." I quietly nodded and replied, "All right. If I'm not actually your father, then I also don't carry any actual responsibility. Starting tomorrow, I'm done paying for your fancy school. The car goes too, since it legally belongs to me. And that college fund, that stays reserved for my son. And clearly that isn't you." His face went pale. "Dad, wait." "It's Marcus," I corrected him coldly. "Or maybe, sir. Since I'm not your father, remember?" That happened Sunday. By midweek, the situation had exploded in every possible direction. Monday morning, I called Westfield Academy and informed them that I was withdrawing financial support. They told Marcus he had 5 days to secure new funding or he'd be dropped. After that, I listed the BMW on Carvana and got 28 grand. Pretty solid for a nearly new car. By afternoon, Marcus came home absolutely wrecked, crying harder than I'd seen in years. "Dad, they pulled me into the office. They said the tuition isn't paid. I have SATs next month. I can't transfer now." I shrugged. "Talk to the man you called your real father figure." He shouted that I was ruining his life over a single comment. I reminded him, "You made it clear I wasn't your real dad. Real dads don't just pay for school, right? I'm just the guy who raised you." Tuesday, my phone got flooded. 40+ texts from Veronica. Gems like, "You're insane. This is abuse. You can't abandon your child. Dante's cousin is a lawyer and says you're breaking the law. Marcus is devastated." I sent one reply. "He prefers Dante as a father. Have Dante handle it." By Wednesday, she stormed into my workplace, screaming about lawsuits, about how I'm sabotaging Marcus's future, about Dante being unable to pay because his business is still getting off the ground. Security escorted her out while my boss watched the spectacle. He just gave me a sympathetic pat and said, "Keep holding your line." That night, Marcus tried a different tactic. Made dinner for the first time in forever, cleaned his room like some kind of peace offering, then sat me down for a dramatic apology. "Dad, I didn't mean any of it. I was confused. You've always been my real father." "Uh-huh," I said, "and I'm sure this has nothing to do with losing your school and car, right?" He insisted that those things simply opened his eyes to how much I've done. Then asked, "So if you fix everything tomorrow, we're good, right?" "I'll never say anything like that again." I stared at him. "And when Dante promises you a Maserati, or your mom offers you a room in their fancy apartment, what then?" He had no answer, wouldn't even meet my gaze. "That's different," he muttered. "Get out of my sight, Marcus." And now, it's Thursday. The school expects the payment by tomorrow. Marcus has been bouncing between explosive anger, dramatic tears, and over-the-top affection in an attempt to sway me. Veronica, meanwhile, has threatened to take legal action half a dozen times already. Funny thing, Marcus actually blocked her after she asked him for $32. So I'm sitting with a beer, staring at his college fund, $127,000, wondering if I should finally splurge on that motorcycle I've been eyeing for years. And trust me, this saga is nowhere near finished. Friday, the final day for the school payment. Marcus claimed he was too sick to go in, but really he was just scrambling between his mother's house and mine, desperate to negotiate some kind of truce. Around midday, Veronica appeared at my door with her sister Gabriella and, unbelievably, Dante's mother, Rosa. Rosa, who's about 65 and acts like her son is some divine gift, immediately started lecturing me about moral duty and how, in our family, we don't abandon children over a few words. I told her, "Your Dante told my kid he'd be a better dad but can't even cover tuition. Sounds like he's good at speeches, not responsibilities." Gabriella jumped in, insisting I was being vindictive and that Marcus was just a kid who slipped up once. I reminded her he's 17, old enough to say I'm not his real dad, and old enough to handle the fallout. Then Veronica switched to crying, claiming I was destroying his senior year and all his friendships. I told her, "Marcus blew up his own year when he decided Dante was the real father figure. I'm just reallocating my money based on that." Right then, Dante strutted up in his leased Maserati, wearing a tank top in 50-degree weather. "Bro, let's talk man to man," he said. I replied, "Sure, got $32? He tried to lecture me about not taking Marcus's comment to heart because kids say dumb stuff. I reminded him adults live with consequences. You wanted the father role? Great, pay his tuition. He puffed up and claimed he was building his brand and had 3 fitness clients. I told him if that's the case, he can't afford to play dad to anyone, then asked him to leave my property. Saturday morning, Marcus went nuclear. He posted on Instagram accusing me of being a manipulative, vindictive parent who couldn't handle criticism. He tagged half the family tree and several people from my job. The post blew up locally, over 1,200 likes and a few hundred comments. Ironically, most people roasted him. Comments like, "Kid said he didn't need his dad, but expected the cash to keep flowing. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and team dad all the way." But of course, Veronica's side of the family came barreling in to defend him. My phone was exploding with messages calling me cold-hearted, accusing me of emotionally damaging a child, and telling me I should be ashamed of myself. My brother Carlos texted, "Just saw Marcus's post. Want me to jump in?" I told him, "Don't bother. Let the kid dig his own hole. Also, I'm unfollowing him. He's turned into an ungrateful brat." Then came Sunday, yesterday, and that's when the real circus kicked off. Marcus was officially booted from Westfield and had to enroll in the public high school for senior year. It's actually a perfectly fine school, but to him it might as well be exile. He storms into my room at 7 in the morning yelling, "I have to go to Jefferson High. Do you know what Westfield kids call it? Juvenile Hall High." I said, "Sounds like a you problem." He panicked about how this would destroy his college chances. "Talk to Dante," I told him. "Maybe he has connections." He snapped, "Stop saying that! You're my dad!" I responded, "Nope. I'm just the guy you're biologically tied to, your own words." But the plot got even better. That afternoon, my lawyer buddy Keith called, practically crying from laughter. Apparently, Veronica tried to file an emergency custody motion accusing me of financial abuse and asking a judge to force me to keep paying for private school. Keith said the judge took one look and basically said, "Ma'am, your son is 17 and private school is not a legal requirement." And just like that, dismissed. Later that night, around 11, Marcus slipped a handwritten note under my door. "Dad, I messed up. I really messed up. Mom and Dante convinced me that you were limiting me, that you held me back, that I'd be more successful if I wasn't under your rules. I bought into it because I'm an idiot. But now I see Dante can't even pay his car lease, and Mom's in a cramped one-bedroom. They sold me fantasies they could never deliver. I'm not asking for Westfield again. I know that ship has sunk. I'm just asking for you to be my father again. The real one. The only one." I kept the note, still deciding how to respond. This morning, Veronica sent one last bitter message. "You won. Hope you're satisfied." Marcus cried all night. I replied, "I didn't win anything. I just stopped losing." After that, I cracked open another beer and thought about what came next. By Wednesday, I'd let him sit in his guilt long enough. The kid looked hollow, quiet, drained, coming straight home from Jefferson, barely touching food, even cleaning without being told. That's when I knew the apology wasn't an act. So, I finally sat him down. "Let's talk about the note," I said. He immediately broke down. No fake crying this time, just full-on snotty, shaking sobs. "Dad, I'm sorry, I ruined everything. I'm an idiot." I told him, "You're not an idiot. You're a teenager who got manipulated by two adults who should have protected you." He choked out, "I just wanted a relationship with Mom. She made it sound like you were the villain, like you pushed her away." I told him the truth plainly, no sugarcoating. "Your mom left because she met Dante at the gym and decided motherhood wasn't exciting enough. That's the whole story." He protested that she said I was controlling, that I didn't support her dreams. "Her dream," I said, "was becoming a fitness influencer. She had 200 followers and blew our mortgage money on supplements she never sold. But sure, her failures were somehow my fault." Thursday was absolute chaos. Word got out that Dante had been arrested. Turns out Mr. Least Maserati was running a bogus supplement hustle, selling cheap fake pre-workout as if it were pharmaceutical-grade formulas. One of his clients ended up hospitalized, and police raided his place to find about $50 worth of knockoff powders. Veronica immediately called me, shrieking that this was somehow my fault. "If you hadn't been so stubborn about Marcus," she screamed, "I wouldn't have pushed Dante so hard about money. He only resorted to this because of the stress." So apparently her boyfriend committing fraud is on me. World-class mental gymnastics. Then she said she needed cash for his bail. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my phone. "Ask his mom," I said. "She's the one who swears he's a saint." Friday was supposed to be Jefferson High's senior skip day, but Marcus went anyway. When he got home, he said, "It's honestly not terrible. People are more down to earth. There's this girl, Maya. She's in my AP Calc class. Super smart." He admitted she'd seen his Instagram meltdown and straight up told him he acted like an entitled brat. I told him she sounded intelligent. He said he might like her. I said, "Graduate first, Romeo." Then, Saturday morning, the doorbell rang at 8. I opened the door in my robe to see Rosa, Gabriella, and a sleep-deprived Veronica announcing that they wanted to make peace. Rosa scolded me, insisting I'd ruined 2 families. I told her Dante was in jail because he chose to break the law. Simple as that. They insisted I should give Marcus his car back for stability. I told them I'd buy him a used Honda if he finished with a 3.5 GPA. Veronica, looking wrecked, begged me not to punish Marcus for her mistakes. I said he wasn't being punished for her actions. He was dealing with the consequences of his own. After another round of yelling, they left. Veronica has apparently moved in with Gabriella since Dante's place is taped off as evidence. Karma's got impeccable timing. On Sunday, Marcus and I went to collect his belongings from Westfield. He looked mortified but handled it. His ex, Brittany, even approached him and said, "You definitely earned some of this, but I'm sorry it played out so publicly." On the way home, Marcus said, "Dad, about college. I don't think out-of-state schools are realistic anymore. Jefferson has a strong engineering pipeline with state. Maybe I could do community college for 2 years, then transfer." I nearly swerved off the road. "You're considering community college?" He said Maya was doing the same because it made financial sense. Her family does well but has multiple kids, so she's covering her own costs. I told him she sounded like someone with her head on straight. Then he asked if the college fund still applied to state or community programs. I told him it was always meant for his education, but he'd be getting a job this summer and he'd be paying for his own gas and insurance once the Honda arrived. He said, "Deal, Dad. Are we okay now?" I told him we were getting there. This morning I woke to Marcus making breakfast. Runny eggs, scorched bacon, but full effort. He's at school now, probably trying to impress Maya with humility he didn't have 2 months ago. Veronica hasn't said a word since Dante's bail was denied. Rumor is he's staring down 3 to 5 years.